Hey guys, welcome to another teardown video. This time we're looking at ZealPC's new Clickiez switches. This is one of the most exciting developments I've come across in a long time. They're basically a crossover hybrid between Cherry MX and Alps SKCM switches, which theoretically allows one to get a taste for the feel of Alps switches, synesthesia intended, while maintaining the compatibility options, place mount, keycaps, etc., of Cherry MX, plus hopefully their resistance to dirt and dust as well, as Alps are famously sensitive to condition issues. Anyway, I'm not going to review them just yet. This is just a look at how they work. The idea is that it's basically a Cherry MX type housing, contact, slider, etc., except it's been adapted to take an Alps style click leaf. The way it works is that the slider engages the teeth of this spring and pulls it forward, which stores energy, and at some point it releases, creating a tactile feel as well as a clicky noise when the leaf slams against the housing. Compared to the plastic click jacket that you normally get on MX-type clicky switches, this has several advantages. First of all, the sound is generally much more satisfying because instead of a vertical plastic rattle, you get a horizontal, much clearer smack kind of sound. And the clicker is metal too, and it has a much greater striking surface area, so it's not as thin sounding or high-pitched. Second, the leaf spring and the teeth it uses are one of the reasons why Alps tactility is considered to be so satisfying. Instead of the tiny notch in the slider that MX switches use, which creates more of a scratchy shudder than a genuine tactile bump, the release of a leaf spring like this is a much more singular, defined tactile moment, which is nice. Even if you go for a relatively subtle tactile bump, it feels cleaner and crisper that way. If you look at the design of the leaf spring, it's also very similar to the shape of old Alps switches. In fact, it's much closer to it than I had thought. Many other Alps-type clicky switches, such as Mantis Foot clones or iRocks, go for clickers that are quite different in shape in the end. And finally, like Alps switches, you can just take the leaf out to create a fully reversible linear mod of your switches. But not only that, Zeal doubled down on this by introducing an option to switch it to tactile non-clicky by moving the click leaf forward of the slot that it's normally in. This makes the switch a lot more tactile in the process, and he actually has a patent pending for this feature. That last thing is actually the most unique thing about the switch because, believe it or not, but an Alps MX crossover on its own is actually not a new thing. A very similar design has existed since the mid or late 80s, including a linear version. These were called Pro World clones. I don't have one right now as they're extremely rare, but I hope to be able to show you one at least during the review. However, this Pro World design didn't have the extreme tactility option. There were also iRocks switches, which combined Alps and Cherry elements, but that one was really more of an Alps-type switch with Cherry keycap mount rather than a Cherry switch with an Alps-type leaf. Because it can be easily interconverted between clicky, tactile and linear modes, Zeal refers to it as a 3-in-1 switch, and they come in 60 gram and 100 gram weightings. It's a really cool idea, and I'm looking forward to giving you my opinion on them in a full review. Overall, it's got 7 parts, same as Cherry MX Blue. 2 parts housing, 2 contacts, a slider, a coil spring and the clicker leaf spring. So it's a kind of low to medium complicated switch. Thank you for watching and see you in the next episode.